My boss couldn't stop looking down my skirt, so I gave him a look he'll never forget. Cole wasn't just my boss. He was a predator in a $3,000 suit. I thought I'd made it. Amazing pay, downtown office. I could finally afford daycare for my 4-year-old daughter. But on my first day, walking toward the elevator, I heard someone behind me say, "Finally someone hot around here. About time they hired someone who isn't built like a fridge." I turned around in disbelief, only to lock eyes with 3 guys staring back at me. That's when HR introduced us. "Lauren, meet Cole, your new regional manager." I just convinced myself I didn't hear him say that, but was still confused. It started the moment I walked into his office for my first review. "Nice dress. Finally someone who does squats," he said bluntly, not even looking up from his paperwork. When my jaw dropped, he glanced up with a shrug. The review lasted 10 minutes. I spent most of it wondering if I'd imagined what just happened. Then came the daily assessments. Every morning, Cole would openly evaluate my appearance like I was some mannequin. "That skirt shows off those legs nicely." When I'd try to tell him to stop, he'd cut me off. "Don't act like you don't like it. I know you're just trying to turn me on." If I wore something looser, he'd frown and shake his head. "What's next? You're gonna wear a full-on hijab. You're wasting your potential." He started making me so uncomfortable I couldn't even look at my own body without thinking about him. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized how comfortable he was. I could handle the little comments, but in that moment, I knew I wasn't alone. During lunch breaks, I started talking to other women in the office. Aaliyah from accounting. He told me I had great assets for client relations and blocked my path when I tried to walk away. Addie from marketing. He said my blouse was distracting the men. Then the next day called me too conservative. I was used to all of it, but then Lisa told me her story. She overheard him call her a land whale when he thought she couldn't hear. The pattern was clear. Cole thought he could say anything he wanted and get away with it. Women he didn't find attractive got humiliated and body shamed. We decided to report him together strength in numbers. We spent 2 weeks gathering evidence, screenshots, witness statements, documented harassment. We thought he'd for sure lose his job. We were so ready, convinced it was his last day there. We walked into Sharon's HR office together, armed with months of documentation, screenshots, and witness statements. Sharon barely glanced at our evidence before leaning back with an annoyed sigh, shaking her head like we were children. "You do realize Cole is our top performer, right? You're probably better off just giving him what he deserves." Our jaws dropped, but it only got worse. Sharon actually smiled as she continued. "Cole works hard, and having some eye candy probably motivates him." All of us were in such disbelief we just left. That night, I sat in my car in the parking garage, hands quite literally shaking. Cole wasn't just protected, he was encouraged. But sitting there, something clicked. His biggest vulnerability wasn't his ego or his mouth. It was that he was so comfortable in his harassment, so confident he'd never face real consequences, that he'd gotten sloppy. I started thinking about all the times I'd seen him quickly hide his computer when someone walked by, or how he always positioned his monitor away from the door. He was hiding something, and men like him always left digital trails. They couldn't help themselves. I knew I had to get on his work laptop somehow, and I knew I was supposed to pull the quarterly reports for the presentation next week. Tuesday morning, Cole left for his extended client lunch. I walked into his office with a legitimate work order, pulling numbers for Thursday's presentation. His laptop was open, as always, and as soon as I laid eyes on his background, I saw it. A picture of Cole, his wife, and his daughter. This predator was married with a girl no older than 5. I found his wife on Facebook within minutes. An entire profile full of happy family photos and posts about her amazing husband and how caring he was. I sent her a message. "Hi Kelly, I work with your husband Cole. I think there are some things about his workplace behavior you should know about." Then I attached our recordings and screenshots. Literally 2 minutes later, I watched Cole's phone ring. The call lasted 3 minutes, and when it ended, Cole stared at his phone like it had just destroyed his life. Cole left early that day and didn't return for a week. When he came back, he looked like he hadn't slept in days, interrogating everyone about who was spreading lies about him. His exact words to me: "Someone's been filling my wife's head with feminist BS. You women sure are dumb, aren't you?" I gave him the last look he'll ever get at my body in a tight dress on the way out, but even after losing his family, Cole couldn't grasp that his actions had consequences. Kelly filed for divorce 2 weeks later and got to keep literally everything. That beached whale ended up getting his job, but since every other firm now knew what he did, his only option was to get a job as a delivery driver.